Hi and welcome everyone. This is a new episode of our show, Tawheed Spiritual Unity of the Three Principles. Today we are talking about marriage in an Islamic perspective and from a three principles perspective. So as long as we have people who already been married. We've got people who got divorced before. I mean, I've been married many times in my life and got divorced, as you know, Harry. No, this is a joke.
Yeah.
So, as I would love to give it over you, so you could share more about what you would love to kind of discuss in this show, because you chose the title for this one. And yeah, if anyone wants to share anything, please feel free to ask any question or share with us your thoughts.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Omar. It's interesting because uh, even though Omar is not married and I am divorced, so we have a representative of a bachelor, a divorced man, and Suad, who is married, born in Morocco, and living in a North American culture, California type of thing. So it's a really nice mix. And I want to emphasize this. That really epitomizes what people go through. So when Omar got serious with me, I mean, let his guard down, he started to talk to me about relationships with women. And that is a natural type of topic between guys, women, and within that context, when Salt Spring started, all the couples came together, and there was no divorce. There was all this love and oh, okay, yeah, and 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 so divorce was actually a foreign word. It was assumed that nobody would get divorced, and everything would just be very peachy because we saw the love grow between it. The parenting really grew as the level of consciousness grew. And Sid was very, very big on marriage, and his own marriage with Barb, which is his first wife before she died of a brain aneurysm, it was just golden. It was just so beautiful to see the way they two worked. And basically in that relationship, Sid was the person who everybody wanted to talk to, and Barb kept the family together. She kept all the details and stuff. She was really the key focus of that part of it. But they just worked so harmoniously. So when I got divorced, that created quite a wave of shock because I was considered in the upper echelon of the group and so on, and I I felt alone and literally totally surprised that I was in a divorce situation. 20 to 25 years later, the woman who hated me, who loved me unbelievably, who picked me as her husband, and then ended up really having a tremendous amount of hate in her, we are great friends. We really have a beautiful relationship. And when she forgets, she calls me honey or whatever. And so the love that we had never went away. It got colored by a lot of things in people's heads, in the experiences and in the interpretation of what they were experiencing. And I found something that I needed to hear Suad. I knew better. You see, it was true that my wife insisted that she was always right. And she was very adamant about certain things. And it was also true that she was a phenomenal mother, wonderful mother to my kids and type of thing. But we simply drifted apart because I forgot the essence of truth inside myself. I knew better, but I got caught up in my insecurities with my work and my life, and I became artificial. I had a answer to the outside world for everything, even though things were now not going so well. I had it sweet in every way. So I covered it up. But of course, the problem was I covered up my truth, my honesty with myself. And as I compromised more and more and got more and more lost, of course, more and more negative things, because she was reacting and I was reacting, where before she was reacting and I wasn't. It was a totally different thing. So divorce was beyond my imagination. And when I went into it, I was shocked. But the funny thing happens is, no matter what we are in a relationship, we are still ourselves. And even though I made a big level of consciousness mistake, I still had to live and be happy. And so I started that journey, and it started with honesty with myself, Suad. When I found my own honesty back again, it became a spiritual journey. And the love of my son saved me. I see what happens when your relationship gets fragmented. You need love somewhere. That's why so many men and women cheat in, in the relation. And I don't know how it is in the Muslim faith, but I've heard it can be quite a bit of cheating. I've heard that. I don't know if it's true, but I've heard it. And the other thing I've noticed is the adversity women face in divorce from their culture, from the society, and from the rules that the man lives by, type of thing. So I found freedom in the divorce because it woke me up. See, when you have truth, you want to wake up when you're stuck. Everyone says everything is perfect. It is eventually. But during that moment that you're suffering, you want to grow. And as I freed myself, my relationship with my kids, my relationship with my past wife, my relationship with everybody changed. And of course, my career took off. Just, all of a sudden I had big contracts working with the indigenous people. I had working with Keith Blevins I hired him to come in and help with it. He was working for me in the project type of thing. And things started to grow. But it all started with, I gotta be honest with myself. No matter what your relationship is, that will mean you will not get lost in pretending. And so with that in mind, Suad, with the fact that you have a single, handsome guy who looks at marriage as one of the ideals that he wants to have, you have an old fart, divorced man, handsome too, of course, and who wants, who sees that. We have Joe, who's another handsome guy who, wonders about this marriage thing. And we have statistics that say 50% of people get divorced. How do you see, and what have you learned from the Quran and from Muhammad and stuff that might be words of wisdom that might get us rolling in a very positive and spiritual way?
Yeah, in Muslim countries, especially in Morocco, we grew up to see marriage as half of one's faith. Okay, so it's like social and moral commitment. It's a religious duty. We have to get married. and we have to stay married. So divorce, it's in Quran too, it's not kind of prohibit, but it's God doesn't want you to divorce. So God, Allah wants you to stay married. And marriage or being married or being divorced, all about marriage, it's 83 times in the Quran. So it's something that Muslim honor being in marriage. So I grew up in this kind of mindset to stay married and to do whatever it takes to sustain this relationship. So I am married now for 43 years with the same man, and I still honoring this marriage. But now with the three principles, another perspective came up about marriage. It was from the culture, from the Quran, from the Islam, that I have to honor my husband, I have to stay in my marriage, I have to stay with my kids. But now with the three principles, it's something else. It's like I take off all my insecurities, as you said, and now I am more happy than before. Before I was young, everything was nice, but I have this nosy mind. Maybe he will cheat on me, maybe he will do that, maybe he will get married, maybe all these insecurities make me just work in this marriage, to stay in this marriage. But now with the three principles, I am more secure about my marriage because I know that I tune to myself. I know that, I am more grounded by my thinking, by my consciousness. So I grew up in this kind of culture. This marriage, it's challenging commitment, that you commit and you have to challenge yourself to stay in this marriage, because all the people right there, all the Muslim, all the fiqh, our parents, our grandparents, all the people who explain Quran, talk about being in marriage and staying with this marriage. Otherwise, your husband will get another marriage and you will lose all this prestige and all this kind of, you are the first wife, you will have another wife for your husband that maybe you will get mad about. So matter of fact, you have to be good and to do good to your husband.
No, this.
So doing whatever it takes from
I
you
bet
as
the
a
women
wife.
didn't like that. No offense.
So do whatever it takes from you as a wife to keep this husband for you, for yourself. So even though something is hurting you, you have to stay there and you have to do whatever it takes from you to keep this husband for yourself. So I grew up in this kind of things. That's, doing whatever it takes for me to cook, to take care of the children, of the house, to do grocery and to do everything just to make him happy to stay with me.
I have a question. Just you're quite well educated as well, Suad. And that's to be respected. How did your husband react to the fact that you weren't just going to stay at home and cook and take care of the kids, but you were actually going to be highly educated and be a professional?
Yeah, I used to be teacher. So I teach philosophy and sociology. And when I come back, I have to be not teacher, nothing else, just a wife. So in Morocco or in every Muslim country, the wife, even if she works outside, at home, she's not working, she's a wife. So you have to take care of everything. Even of him, for example, if you work with him outside from 8 to 12 and you come back at noon, you have to cook and you have to put the table and you have to do everything. And him, maybe he's gonna go lay down and read the newspaper or watch the TV, waiting for you to make the food. Okay, so helping at that time when I got married, helping a woman or helping your wife, it was like seeing it's something bad. You don't have to help the woman in the kitchen. But now maybe young people, they do that. But before it was like, it's not good to see a man or husband helping his wife in the kitchen, cooking or cleaning or taking care of the kids. This is the mom's job. And the husband doesn't have to do that. So I grew up in this kind of things that I have to do whatever it takes from me to stay married. Otherwise, my family maybe they don't like that. They don't. Maybe it's seen as bad things to get divorced. It's
Yes,
bad
it is,
for
yeah.
for a woman to get divorced. The society, the family, all this culture will see her as a bad woman. It's not a good woman. She couldn't stay in her marriage. So I grew up in these things like that. But with the principles, 3 principles now, I understand more that you have just to tune to yourself, to your truth, and to nurture yourself. And in this way, you will nurture the relationship and you will nurture your husband. And maybe the husband will change the mind. Who knows?
Will change his mind. Yeah, it's really interesting that you mentioned that, because we see it as ingrained in our culture. I'll talk at least about that. We must have a wife that knows how to cook and do these things as normal. It is seen as normal, okay? And as Suad mentioned, like it is one of the most important things that a woman should do. And this is, I don't see this as part of the religion really, but more of part of the culture, right? And I see, unfortunately, some people relating it to the religion, which took another stance that this is we see people with big beard and Imam talking about this, that it's good to listen to your husband, which yeah, of course it's good, but when it comes to diminishing yourself and not respecting yourself and not seeing your truth, and seeing like that's this is done only to bring you closer to yourself so you could become closer to Allah.
Yeah.
And so we got this totally wrong. We diverted from the essence of why this has to be done, not for the sake of pleasing your husband. It's good to please your husband, but it's for the sake of being in that state of love, that being on that state of Tawheed, unity. And this is how you connect to your husband and to your kids. And so it is really important that you touch upon this point, Suad, because we still see people doing that. And I think that now young people are like they woke up to this fact that no, like I could if I'm tired after work, I could just rest. I don't have to do all these things. All right, like if she wants to do it because she wants to, that's completely fine. But she doesn't really have to do this, so she could please her husband. And yeah, so what's your thoughts about that? What do you think about it, like now that you see it from a different perspective?
Because it is at the heart of what every woman goes through, yeah, in the Muslim culture, especially when they're getting married or they're with their boyfriend and so on. And I come from an old-fashioned approach. I was very liberal, but when I met my wife, who was 10 years younger than I am, it turned out I wasn't as liberal as I thought I was.
You became 10 years younger, Harry.
Yeah, well, it was probably a good fit. I was childlike, and we have these struggles, our struggles with our religion. I'm a Muslim, but I don't totally agree with, and our struggles in relationship and marriage, and according to, and also the way society. But that question that Omar brings up is a really, really good question for today. Maybe not 10 years ago, a good question, but today, a very good question.
Yeah. It's cultural things. But in Morocco, as I know, and in many Arabic countries, Muslim countries, still young people fight for this kind of things. Divorce goes up by 5% in Morocco just about doing all this thing, the chores at the house and helping each other and cooking, and still this big picture about the man and the woman and separation of duty inside of the family, still distinct, because we cannot fix cultural things without fixing religious things. They go hand by hand, especially in Muslim countries. Culture and Islam, they go hand by hand.
And the same for the Jewish faith as well.
So something it's from the religion became cultural and something from the culture became religious. So we have to understand the book. We have to understand the Quran. We have to read the Quran again, and we have to fix something there, not in the Quran, but in the understanding of the Quran. Because as I always said, we close the Quran and we work with the understanding, with the explanation. And explanation still there in our subconscious as Muslims. So even young people, as Omar said and mentioned, so young people, they believe that man is more powerful than a woman. Man should do things and women should do other things, even in young people. You know, I work with this couple, they are both doctors and they fight about just, doing things at house. And they are young and they are in Morocco. And they fight about cooking, about cleaning, about the kids. They fight like, as people fight 30 years ago or 40 years ago. So this is in their subconscious. So we need something to change this mindset. And if the mindset's still the same, everything's still the same. We just cover it with something, some money or beauty or something from the woman or from the man that cover these cultural things that is still there. So we have to talk with open heart, with open mind about these things and try to fix them. Try to fix, so men should do things and women should do things. We are both of us in this relationship. So we have to commit to work together to make this relationship working. We are not yet there.
And maintain the intimacy, because without intimacy, there is no relationship. There is two people living together, but sort of apart. But with the intimacy,
the intimacy, the passion. For example, in Quran, Allah Azza wa Jalla said, وَجَعَلْنَا بَيْنَكُمْ مَحَبَّةً مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. This word of mawadda means intimacy, fellowship, kindness, fancy. But we cover that with love. I don't love her, she doesn't love me. But love is not mentioned in Quran. What's mentioned in Quran is this intimacy, is this kind of being together for everything, for the kids, for the relationship itself. But with this misunderstanding about being in love doesn't exist.
Well, one's a concept, and intimacy is a real feeling. And to me, that is the essence of every relationship, even like friends, the intimacy, because you tolerate, you give, because the intimacy allows the natural forgiveness and the natural respect and the with intimacy, and romance. One of the things I made a big mistake, Omar, in my marriage was I was not romantic. Then I later met a woman who insisted on romance. Now, it's not the essence of the relationship. The relationship cannot live just on romance. But without romance, it's not as much fun. It's just the reality of the situation.
It's an amplifier.
Yes. It's the kindness too. Being kind to each other. So, and this fellowship, like I feel like, everything means that relationship is working. And once we miss, like intimacy, as you said, kindness, passion, the relationship die. And
one thing you mentioned earlier about that love doesn't exist. And I just want to make it clear that, what you're saying here, because I really got what you meant by this, like love that exists right now, that I need this handsome man who got this stuff so I could feel love, right? Or I need this person to feel, love. But love is who we are. Love is our natural state. And we come from love. We don't receive this feeling of love outside of us. It's something that is already there within each and every one of us. And when two people meet, they fall into that space of love when they have less judgment about them, you know, their relationship, or
No
and
condition.
actually no conditions. And actually, you know, like Dr. Dickon Bettinger put it beautifully once. He said that love is the absence of judgment. It is really that simple. But you know, like when the judgment starts in a relationship is when we actually lose sight of love. Love is still there, but we just have this, you know, made up thought that comes between us and love, because love is already there. As sometimes we feel not connected to Allah, Allah is already there. He's always with us and with everyone. And we don't see this because of that thought that came to us as a judgment. You know, look at him, he's doing this, look at her, she's not cooking. And when we go on that road, it doesn't end. You know, it's a vicious circle that got no end until we realize that, you know, pop that first bubble that we first created, that it was our own creation about that person in front of us, not the person of us telling us about who he is or she is. And if we truly see the innocence of people like that, being caught up in their mind, sometimes if I'm angry and I'm not seeing it right, my level of consciousness, my khushu is going down, and I don't feel connected to people, or, you know, in my salas or anything. When my level of consciousness is up and feel good, I feel at ease, and I feel this state of khushu that I want to be in all the time, and it's just flowing from there. So the thing is that, you know, there is nothing wrong about feeling down sometimes and being in that low level of consciousness, but it's just realizing that there is nothing wrong with me when I feel down, because when I'm okay with being down, I'll be up again. And if I make up a story about that, I'll just keep going down and down and creating stories about why my relationship is not working, why my kids are doing this to me, why they don't want to, you know, behave well, and or why I'm not getting married.
And what's happening, what makes it confusing when you just have to deal with yourself, you know, when you're talking about 3P, it's quite simple. Your thinking is the creation of all your problems. You add another person, it brings another layer of complexity to it. A, they might be in a bad mood, or B, they may have a blind spot. But the most important thing that I found in my defeating myself in a relationship was I would have expectation of the other person. And
Right.
they were not fulfilling it because I had brought a bunch of baggage from other relationships and other things. And I was thinking they are not providing me. And that's an old trigger that made me insecure. And then one day I said, oh, they don't have to do what I expect them to be. And B, what am I don't do that in anything else. I just seem to only do it in relationships where I get needy and all that. And the moment that disappeared, you talked about popping a balloon or popping a belief. You saw the other person clearly. Maybe they aren't as much into this particular thing as you are. Or maybe they're not interested in providing you with what you think you need or want and desire and so on. And all that it does is it frees you once again to be empty. Very easy to be in a relationship when you're empty. But as Suad will say, it's not always that easy to be empty when you're dealing with my husband, you know, and I don't know him and I don't, but you know what I mean? it's very easy when you're empty because you see the truth and you're clear and you've got that some intimacy happening or some kind of something happening anyway and then you get needy. And because you've read a book or you've read or you've come up with ideas and they're not provided. In truth, that not provided is that judgment you're talking about, Omar, and that takes you farther away from being connected to Allah. It's what I do in relationships that take me away from the sacredness of that special feeling. You know, it's all right just to have a good time with a person. You don't always have to have the grand rockets, explosions. And what if they're a nice person and you can just enjoy them for who they are? There is no difference between a guy and a gal being friends and a guy and a guy being friends or a girl and a girl being, and I don't mean it's all right too with the gay stuff and all that. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about it's all right to be friends with people. But if you put a supposition, and of course with guys, there's a sexual supposition thrown in there for good luck, you know, type of thing, that you put that aside and you go into that relationship the same way as you would everything else. Of course, it doesn't work like that. There's something added there. It's just got a uniqueness to it. You know, your relationship with your husband is your relationship with your husband. Nobody else has that relationship with that man like you.
Yes. Yes, Harry, thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, you know, for me, when somebody choose somebody to be with, this decision means that this person will be the source of my happiness. So I put all this happiness in that person. And then times goes on and I forgot about my decision. And then I start seeing this person and judging and putting conditions. And I forgot that this person, I choose this person to be source of my happiness. Then the problems arise. And then all this fighting and all this misunderstanding start arising in the relationship. And we say relationship doesn't work. What it doesn't work, it's me putting that person as source of my happiness. And then I forgot about all my commitment. So if I see myself as I am enough, that I am whole and complete, and nothing wrong with me, I am happy with this person and without this person, the whole perspective of relationship will change. And in relationship, I see relationship, it's three entities. It's me, my husband, and the relationship. And we have both to work in this relationship, not to work on me or to work on him, to work in the relationship itself, because it's commitment, it's my choice, it's his choice, but I have my background, I have my education, my family, my culture, and all my mind. I came with all my baggage in this relationship, and he came with all his things. So we have to make space for the relationship to grow. We have to make space for the relationship to be alive, by putting away all our minds, all our thinking, we start thinking about how to nurture the relationship, thinking just about this baby, how making this baby growing and being nice and being beautiful, just for us to enjoy this commitment.
You know, it's interesting. Well, first I want to ask you, who's the boss in a Muslim relation? Is it the man or is it the woman?
Is it the, it's the woman, but covered with the man. This is what I said in the beginning. It's something is misunderstood.
I understand that totally.
is the
And it's,
woman.
by the way, it's the answer. I didn't know the answer, I'll be honest. But
It's the yin and the yang, Harry.
it's the yin and the boss,
Yeah.
Omar.
But the woman, the more you get old in the relationship, and the more you get old in the relationship, the woman became the master. But in the beginning, for the first 20 years or 10 years, the man is the master. The
Oh.
man.
Oh, it's a lot in the North America, of course, it's a little bit, it's much quicker in the turnaround, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
you know, so what happens when a woman wants to talk to her husband about something that she's dissatisfied with?
Like if she's powerful woman,
Well, all women are powerful.
she's powerful in the relationship. I mean, when she's
Yeah.
powerful in the relationship and she knows that she has, like, kind of mastery in the relationship, and her thinking or her way of thinking about the relationship is understood, she can talk about that with open mind. But
What
if
the
not,
like the feeling I have is this is a very innocent observation.
Yeah.
The women are more open-minded than the men are. That's just my own observation of what I've seen in being exposed to the beautiful Muslim culture. And I want to emphasize the beauty of the people is just phenomenal. But I've been deeply impressed with the depth of the women and the way they look and search, and there seems to be an openness, certainly towards feelings. Like it's very obvious that the Muslim women have really danced with feelings in a beautiful way, but I don't get the same feeling from the men.
yeah, because we are, like, we are educated to be in the flow as a woman. Okay, so you have to nurture. As a woman, you have to nurture your family, you have to nurture your relationships, you have just to be nice. We are educated to be like that. So when you go in a relationship, when you get married, the flow continue. And you continue to do the same thing, to open your heart, to open your mind, and to do everything, whatever it will take from you, just to stay in this relationship. So this is give us this flow of thinking and this flow of being nice with everybody and listen to everybody and just serve everybody.
I have a different answer to that, Harry. And I think Sydney Banks answered this for you. He said that people are doing the best they can given the thinking they're having. And the conditioning that most Muslim men have is to, like, I wouldn't talk to someone who's not, for example, Muslim. Someone put this with himself as a rule, that I wouldn't talk to someone who's not Muslim because we wouldn't get along. This is just an example. It's not true for everyone, but some people does. Like for example, this is out of topic, but I saw a video earlier about this. These kids. I think they were like about 12 years old, 13 years old in the US, in New Jersey. A black kid was fighting a white kid, and the white kid, he actually, triggered the fight. And the police came in, and they actually pinned down the black kid, and they didn't do anything to the white kid. And so back to my point, like, it's what's ingrained in your mind about that person. What do you believe in? What are your the rules you put up with you?
This is what it is, and we cannot change the world or change another human being. It is for us to work in harmony with those people, even though we disagree with some of the principles that they live their life by. I could. That's a good point, Omar, and also it's a point of peace rather than confrontation, which some people may suggest that's where I'm heading towards. That's a really good point. Maybe we could hear it from one or two of the other women or something, what they have to add a little vinegar to the talk, or sweetness, whatever.
This is a group conversation, so
If
please, yeah.
Can I add my opinion on the topic?
Of course, go ahead,
Yeah.
Miriam.
So I didn't hear, unfortunately, because my net went off for 2 minutes, so I didn't hear your intervention fully. But I heard the intervention of Suad and the question of Harry. And what I think is happening is that sometimes we don't take in consideration how society shape us as individual, and how shape the way of our expressing our feminine part and masculine part. You will find in the Arab culture, and it's not about religion, but it's more about culture. And yeah, it's also about in the Italian as well. You know, like background. It is something that you can see, especially anyway in the Arab culture, that men are not allowed to express their feminine part. So the part that it is more embracing, it is more sensitive, it is more emotionally connected, because it is, for the society, it's just something that belongs to women. And I don't think that is, I don't agree with that, but it's how the kids are, you know, like being raised up with this conception. And you will find a lot of men that have this kind of pressure. They want, how can we say it? They will detach from their emotional, how can you say, communication. So that's why maybe you find them a little bit more close, and they just don't get it because they don't master the skill of getting connected within. Obviously, I'm talking about, you know, generally, but there are exceptions. At the same time, you can see how the feminine power in our society, I think in our religion is celebrated, and it is celebrated as not as women and the man, but it's celebrated as energies that everyone has inside of himself. But in the society, it's just shifted, and you can see the girls are growing up knowing that they can be emotional, they can be embracing, nurturing, etc., etc., etc. However, they cannot accept their masculine parts, so the active part, the logical part, the one that, how can I say, brings safety. So that's why, unfortunately, a lot of girls search safety outside, and that's when it comes the neediness.
It gets complicated.
Exactly. Yeah. It gets needy, and there is a detachment from the self itself, and what we want, what we need, and what we want to experience, and what we want to express. So I think it's
excuse me for what, and that's where the three principles kind of shine. In our insecurities, we see that they're bulletproof to take us back to going inside, and then we can embrace the goodness of the Quran, or the teachings and the people, from, as Omar says, from a neutral perspective, rather than just conformity to what the status quo we're thinking about.
I love what you shared, Miriam. Would you like to add something else?
Yeah, I cut you off.
No, maybe I will join. Yeah, it's okay. Maybe I will join later. That's the discussion is that anyway.
No, I loved about what you mentioned about the feminine and masculine, and I actually saw this in myself, because to be honest with you, before I go and live in the UK, I was kind of that, you know, person who was hiding his emotions and trying to be, you know, a man like society tell us to be, like, you know, as in Morocco, let's say. And when I went to England, I saw something that really struck me most about, you know, men in there, is that they like, especially the people that were in the seminars I used to go to, they used to just share their being, like what they are feeling, and not hiding that parts of themselves. And if they need to cry, they just cry, because it is seen as bad if you cry, you know, in an Arabic country, right? Because like, how could you have to, you know, to whip it out and just go and do the work and hustle. But I think the more we see the, you know, the humanness of it all, and the innocence of, like, as a human beings, we are literally, you know, we are we are nothing, right? And at the same time, we are everything in a spiritual dimension, let's say. And so, you know, we most of the time get in touch with that conditioning that we have about how to behave in a society and with women, and you don't have to do so, we don't have to behave in a certain way, and this is what you have to do in front of, you know, women, let's say, and in front of people in general. It's not socially accepted to see a man crying. Like, I haven't seen a man crying in Morocco, I think, since I came back. Maybe was like in a funeral or something. But yeah, but you know, I've came to realize, and I'm glad I did, because it really opened that door for me to be, and to be myself. Because like before, it's like I was, you know, showing this mask, and it's like it didn't feel right. It felt uncomfortable, and you know, it was, you know, I was so insecure about that. But now, like, I don't have any issue with expressing how I feel, and just if I feel like crying, I'll just cry. And yeah, so thank you for bringing this up, Miriam. This is a really important point to talk about. And yeah, you can.
If I can add something very quickly
Sure.
to reconnect to the main topic, I think again we brought up this point about this energy inside of us and how the society conditioned them, etc., etc. But then, if you see them in a relationship context, you will see how these two energies are dynamically synergic, you know, so they interact with each other independently from the person itself. So I agree with Suad when she said, I see three entities, like me, myself, and my partner, and then the entity of the relationship itself. So the relationship has this balance of energies, and it's our it's our duty in a way, or it's our responsibility, not duty. It's our responsibility to make it to keep going in the dynamicity of it, because that's what brings grow up, you know, the growth itself. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
You know, that's really beautiful, because I do believe, Miriam, the balance is the most rewarding when you have a dear relationship, and the balance is there. And it is a bit of a juggling act between your independent, the feelings you need, being in a state of service to the other person and being aware of them. Because we know when the balance is there, that is as divine a sharing of Allah that you can possibly experience. Because you're all of a sudden, in a very ordinary way, living the way the Quran is telling you to live. with another human being. It is difficult, but as you say, the rewards are so powerfully beautiful. And then we bring in, you can't help but love the person, because there's that nutrition that we need as a human being. Men and women need each other. I know that to be true. I know that when I touch a woman and I touch each other, that is, it's not only exotic, or it's divine. It's actually soft and deep rather than exciting and that. And that balance that you're talking about, Miriam, that is pure wisdom. If you can share that with another human being in a relationship, especially a man and a woman relationship, you are really in a state of service to Allah and a state of service to the man. Because I can tell you for sure, as a man, the only thing I really care about is if my partner is happy. And if she's happy, I'm happy. And it just works. It's so much beautiful. And if she's not happy, then I hope by the wisdom of Allah, I have the ability to listen. In fact, all the principles of the three principles, all the things that they teach Omar in the course that he's taking is all about how to have a good relationship with another human being, and especially your loving partner. It's the best. It is the best.
Also having less judgment about them and less thinking about them. I mean, if I'm fully present with my partner, okay, I don't have a partner. If I'm fully present with another human being, I will not have anything in mind. I'll just be in that conversation and have a really beautiful conversation. But if I have something in mind about that person, and I'll maybe start to analyze them, and I'm coming in between us. Something is coming between us, this connection, or truly just listen to them. And this is the same, I guess, like for people in like who are married, like if there is this, just enjoying each other's company. You mentioned that earlier, Harry, and this is so important. This is how I always see it. Like if I'm dating someone, I'll just enjoy their company. And that's how it is every time I see them. It's about enjoying each other's company. And the more this is the goal and no agenda in mind, it just unfolds beautifully. And you get to really connect deeply with the person. Instead, when you have something about it, for example, like if you're dating, you want to get married and you have this, insecure thinking about it, like he should be this, he should have this, and try to kind of discriminate them in a way. That's a barrier that's hold people back from really dating the person and see the person how the person actually is, rather than how I think about the person actually is. And so the less we come in the way, the more we are inclined to connect with them and see if they are the right person for us or not.
The right person is a gift from Allah. Yeah, I'm convinced.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
Yeah. And the right relationship starts from the self. When you have
from within, yeah.
Within, if you have healthy relationship with yourself, all the relationship will be healthy. All your relationships with your partner, with your kids, with your colleague, with everyone. So everything starts from the self. When you are in harmony with yourself, you are in harmony with Allah. And then you will just follow all the steps to be in harmony with others. So if you have this noisy mind and you have all these thoughts and all this thinking about conditions and about judging and criticizing, you are criticizing yourself, you are judging yourself. Look within, what do you have to work on before going in any relationship? This is how you're gonna succeed in any relationship, either with your partner, either with your kids, or with your colleague. So I agree that we have to start by not fixing, but just, understanding ourselves first. And this is what I did to be in harmony after 43 years with my husband.
It's a growing, isn't it? It's not actually, I got married, I'm there, and that's the way it is.
It's a growing, and it never stopped growing. Never stopped growing.
It's not a discipline. You don't have to, but if it grows, he becomes more and more interesting.
And now you drop all these religious and all these cultural things, and you live as a human being. And that's all. And you live in this intimacy, this kindness, this kind of love with no condition. Just you are for him and he is here for you. That's all. There is nothing else, nothing more.
Right.
That's what marriage is, just two ordinary people hanging out together. But one thing I don't quite agree with you, Omar, I hope you don't mind me saying that. Every relationship, the healing, the love, the essence is exactly 100% correct what you said. Absolutely. No, undeniable what you said is 100%. But the problem is nobody can do that. We think and we get caught up in stuff, but we keep going. If we keep going, raise our hands, let's say, raise it to Allah or raise it to truth or raise it to the understanding we have, we keep moving in the fog, into the sunshine. And the more we do it, what I notice with the couples who, let's say, are very high levels of consciousness, because there are quite a few that I know that have, it gets very easy for them to coexist and do that, and so on. And for the ones in the lower level, they find different ways of understanding that. But in a relationship, I have never been in a relationship where I haven't messed myself up with my thinking. And I don't think there ever going to be a relationship.
Absolutely. Can you repeat again what you disagreed on? I would love to hear that.
I disagreed that, like, sometimes I hear people talk about it's in this quiet, when we're in this state of this quiet mind. And the implication is that's the only state that I am in, and that's the only state that works. But that's not being a human being.
Ups and downs.
I have stupid thoughts, Omar.
Yes.
I confess.
Well, me too. That's why I'm not married yet, Harry.
And Omar starts the show by something beautiful in the relationship. Omar starts by listening. Once we start listening to each other, the communication became more and more easy, because now I listen to the words or the meaning of the words from my partner, and now I know what kind of thought he's experiencing. I became more compassionate with this kind of thought. I forgive everything, and I just go in the relationship and start being in the relationship more than being with him in his thought, being in the relationship, being in what else, what beyond this thinking. And everything settled down. Everything became quiet when you listen. First, listening, it's something that's it's necessary for any relationship. Just listen. Listen to your partner.
For everything in the whole universe, it's important.
Yeah, but listening with in the couples, it's more important to listen.
Yeah, and to be in a state of service to the other person.
Yes.
You can take care of yourself, but if you can actually help or take care of another person, you really have something. And it turns out that's the only time they're going to respect and appreciate you, or whether they acknowledge it personally doesn't matter, because you can feel it in your heart. That's why love is timeless, and it has no words to describe it, because it's real. Everything that's real has no words to describe it. Everything that's illusionary is written in the book, and and we know when we share love in our heart with someone we love, Boy, that is cool. And as Suad is suggesting, you have to first find the love in your own heart before you can actually love another person. And that would be an essence of the three principles and so on. And I don't know much about what Muhammad talked about in relationships, you know, and so on, but I would have to think if he would be very similar to Sid and Barb. That there would be that harmony, that love. And one of the things that was very interesting with Barb, Omar, and Suad was she was, let's say, the second highest person in the three principle movement. She didn't want to talk in public. She was happy in her role as the mother, as the wife. She always Sid was a type of man who was lonely without her. She always traveled with him. They went everywhere together. And she did her part, but she didn't have to be out there teaching and talking. She didn't want to do that. And so that was fine with Sid and so on. But the gentleness, the listening, the harmony, the ability to, like, their house was spotless, their kids, you know, everything was really, really, really special. And Sid said often, he wished he had gotten enlightened earlier so that he could have had a better relationship with his kids and his, you know, because he wasn't. But oh my God, we are here not only to share one global community, but imagine one piece of God and you. It doesn't get any better than that. And yet there does, because you have to have the love for yourself. It's the funniest thing. What caused my divorce, Omar? I lost the love for Harry. Honestly, that was it.
Yeah. You know, like something came up to mind, you know, it's a Rumi quote as usual, that says your task is not to seek
My
for
favorite.
love.
Sorry, say it again, Omar. I'm sorry.
He said your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it.
I agree with that. That's
It's
how I see that.
it's not something that comes from outside, because, you know, sometimes it feels like I feel this feeling because I am with this person, or I need this person to be okay.
Yeah, that's an old image, but it's true. It's true. I sold my soul out to try and please this other person.
Yeah.
And in reality, that's what caused the divorce.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I didn't have to, by the way. It just, I
It's
just
funny
thought
how
I
it
had
works,
to.
actually.
Yeah.
Because it looks like if I do this, then I'll be like with this person forever and we'll be in love. But losing yourself for the sake of someone else is literally giving up everything what is this relationship is all about. If it's not mirroring or turning you back within, like I see, you know, a solid relationship, or, you know, like a soulmate is someone who actually points you back to who you truly are. When you are in your thinking, they will see through this, right, and point you back to yourself. Like, you are angry, you are in your thinking, you're upset, and it's completely fine.
That's a big point. That's what a marriage is. Sometimes, Omar, you and I need help. Like, not that often, but once to have.
Absolutely.
To have.
I always need help, Harry.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Sometimes we to have that other person there to lift you. When I had that, and my wife did it for me, I loved her 1,000 times more, because I didn't need help that often, but once in a while I fell all the way down and she was there to hold me. and support and no judgment and just gentle. Because of course, when I'm weak, I need gentle. I have to have gentle. If you're tough when a man is down, don't ask him to forgive you. You've made a huge error. You've thrown his love in his face because he's shown he's totally vulnerable, totally weak. And if the woman is there, then of course it comes the other way too, Suad. If the man is there for the woman, that also has the same.
But that's why Allah Azza wa Jal in the Quran said He created your wives among yourself. So it's not created from yourself, as you know, as the understanding and the explanation from this level of consciousness, from another level of consciousness. It's like, you know, you see your wife or your partner or your husband, you see it as part of you. It's mirroring you. So, and He created mercy and love between you, so to uplift each other and to hold each other when the space of, like, you know, of this kind of thought came in. You have to uplift, you have to hold as a baby until this kind of thought goes away. So this is the understanding in the Quran, and the whole understanding of this ayah of marriage is to hold each other, to hold space for each other. And there is affection and mercy between you, and you have to care about this mercy and affection more than anything else. So this is the right understanding for the marriage in the Quran. Yeah.
Well, maybe that's a good place.
So yeah,
Go ahead, over. But that was beautiful, Suad. I agree with that.
absolutely beautiful.
100%, that image. I think we've been struggling with that type of, that's why marriages work.
Yes.
Let's face it, and they do. Hey, folks, they do work. They do work. It's I know man is a bit of a pig, but they do work. And when I mean man there, I mean men and women, you know, of course, not just men. Yeah.
Well, that was such a beautiful conversation, actually. So I really enjoyed this one. Thank you for your participation, for your sharings. That was just something that should be pondered on. We don't see. Actually, the main reason why we actually did this this show is to clarify the misunderstanding of marriage in Islam, and also talk about it from the three principles perspective. And so I hope that that's what you actually got out of it, and I'll see you in 2 weeks for another episode with Hannah Studley, who's gonna talk about pain and the three principles. So I hope to see you there.
I want to just add something, please, Omar. Please, if you read Quran about marriage or about relationship, read the whole things. Don't cut it and read whatever it suits to you as a man or as a woman. Read the whole things and have the big picture that Allah wants to say. Don't read just small parts and make it working for you. Read the whole part and you will have the whole understanding about what Allah wants from us.
I love it. I love it. So kind of losing yourself in it, not making it about you as a woman, like, because when you say I'm a woman, you're already defining yourself in it. And so just basically seeing the essence of it all. I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.